and it wasn't so easy to run away. But in the middle of the night, it was a Tuesday, I think, I made up with my friend that we're going to skip the gate, jump over. It wasn't so easy, but we take a lot of wood and we climb over. And I climb over the gate, and my friend, he become scared, and he says, "I'm sorry, I cannot skip up, I cannot jump up." And I was alone there.
My father, I remember, he was traveling for business to a neighboring town with a train. And one day he came home and he was all bloody and everything was scared. They would just beat him up. He's Jewish for no reason, just that he was Jewish. When I couldn't go higher than 15 years. When I was 15 years, I came home, and I was very, very upset. And I remember I threw myself down on the bed and then I was crying, what I'm going to do now. I felt like my life is ending. I didn't know what I'm going to do. The Germans occupied Hungary in March. The war was on already and they were bombing. I mean, not our town, but the fighting planes were flying, and for evening we had to darken everything. We had to put on dark paper that no light should go out, and then when the siren was blown, we had to run out from the houses and go to the garden. And the last Passover was already very frightening because the Germans were there. I remember there was an area in the middle of the Seder, and the night after Pesach they started to take us. My grandfather stayed home because they let the old people stay home temporarily, and it was the first time, and it's a terrible memory that I saw my grandfather cry. When you are a child and you see an adult crying, it's very scary. And then they said, don't cry, you're going to follow them soon.
I was almost alone in the middle of the night, nobody in the whole train. And I arrived there 5 o'clock in the morning in the city, Nagybánya. And I arrived there, a Hungarian soldier, there was Casernian, for soldiers and for the Jewish people, but they put group together and then they send them to work. Come there to the door, was ready, how do you come? This was only made for people that they are over 20 years, and I was only 8. I didn't have papers that I can go in there. So there was a very good officer, the head from this barracks, let me in. They put us together, group, and they sent me out to work. Again, I see there's no future, but the end will be the Germans will come and take us. I was thinking to myself, how can I go away from there? I cut myself in my foot, and blood was coming, and they took me in another city to a hospital. That time was still not so bad, but still the Hungarians so took me in a hospital there. And in this hospital, I was there about 4 weeks. In these 4 weeks, they took already all the workers from Hungarian and the German, and they take them to Auschwitz or wherever. They took them to Germany.
They took us to Auschwitz. We saw that we are going toward Poland, and then we know already that we knew what happened in Poland. And we know that it's very bad. When they opened the cattle car, and they said, got out fast, everything was fast, and there were that men in prison uniforms, like those stripy uniforms, and they were prisoners and they were helping, and they said, give the children to the old one, give the children to the old one. They didn't know why, but they said, give the children to the old one. And I remember a friend of ours, she had a baby on her arm, and the man said, took the baby. Oh, I said, I left home such a beautiful baby. Give the baby to somebody else. And she saw that, that he really meant good. And she gave her baby, and after when she found out that her baby was already gassed, she was almost going crazy. But she survived the war, and she found her husband, and they had other children.
Then, later on, when I got married, came the Second World War. And as it's known, the Germans occupied the country, and we were in great trouble as Jews. And the same year, I got pregnant with my first child. It was 1944. As it's known, the Jews had to go into a ghetto. But I had very unusual, smart mother who saw things beforehand, before it came, the problem, the real problem. She had connections. She had a lot of good friends, non-Jews, because we dealt with alcohol, with wine and all kinds of drinks in wholesale. It's very well known that the Hungarians are tremendous drinkers. They loved alcohol, and she had a lot of real good friends. We were really very lucky because she found a family who took in my husband, hiding him. As I was pregnant, I had permission to go into a hospital. When it came later on, they were looking all over, and it was no excuse, whatever excuse was. We went to Budapest. Also non-Jews were hiding me, and it came to the time to have the baby. It was taken already from Budapest, the Jews, to Auschwitz. Yeah, I was taken into the hospital. It came the birth for my baby as a non-Jew. So my baby was born as a non-Jew. Nobody knew.
They take me to Budapest. There I was again in a sort of labor camp. Also from there they put together people and they took them to Austria, to Germany, to work, onto the Germans. That time wasn't anymore. They took already all the Jews from Hungary also. They still needed them, doctors and this kind of people, very elite people. This was 1945 in January or in December 44. They took us and they put us in trains. There was no eating and you wasn't able hearings. We was like, and they took us to Austria. This little city from Austria was Agendorf. The Germans took us already there. They took it over from the Hungarians. They call it this place called Todt Organization. That's mean whoever come there, they never go out alive anymore. They put that in shires, a barrack, but they keep the hay, and it was winter time and it was so cold. It was so cold that every night died at least 50, 60,000 people what it was going out. It wasn't in one place, it was all over, In this particular place where I was, in this barrack, wind was coming in almost up. When somebody died, we got happy because we was able to take him in to protect us from the wind. And we shall not get freeze out. And they give us to eat once in 3 days. In daytime they took us out streets there was trees, and they was afraid that the partisans, that is the resistance, what they was against the Germans, they was in the woods, hiding in the woods, and they was coming out sometimes and they killed the Germans.
It went so fast. First the men on one side and the women on the other side, and I didn't even realize it that my mother went with my sister and brother. I didn't even realize it that she's not near me anymore. The man on one side, but my little brother went with my mother. The selection, the separating were on this side or that side the Germans, and then Mengele was on the... I didn't know who he was, but I saw a very good looking soldier with immaculate uniform and high shiny boots, and he pointed with his right, left, just right, left. Everything was so fast that we didn't realize. My aunt was there and her 2 daughters, and they took us. Everything was fast, slow, fast. We went to a shower, we had to get undressed and left everything there. Only we had to carry our... first of all, they shaved us before we went to the shower. Everything, the hair and everything, and it's... Man, it was nothing, And then we went to the shower. They didn't give us no towels, no underwear. Just we had a loose, got a gray, some got stripes. I got a loose gray dress, and I had my shoes. That's all what I had. And all right, it wasn't in the winter, it was in the spring, but still, no underwear, nothing. And then we looked at each